Hi guys, I'm back up here with another channel message for the collective. Remember, all messages are not for all, they're for some. Take what you need and leave the rest. As well as we got that slot open for personal readings if you feel guided or interested in purchasing one of those. You know what to do. DM me, we can get you set up, come fuck with your girl, okay? As well as drop a comment down below, let it hear from you guys to start the discussion. As well as just gonna share these vids, man. Let's get this divine knowledge out here for the collective so we all can get on one accord, okay? So, like I said, I'm not going to be on screen right now. I'm just here giving the message, right? So I'm just going to speak to you guys, okay? So I was kind of in worship and stuff like that, kind of really trying to connect with God and things like that. And what came out of that session that I was just having was right now is a powerful time right now where you can get that understanding and really build that relationship with God. Because this is that type of energy where it's so heightened right now, where God is just waiting for you to be like, hey man, I'm ready to meet, right? This is that type of energy, like I always say, y'all, like God is not an initiator. God is not going to make you or come up to you and be like, hey, come fuck with me. Like, you know, this is that type of energy. It's about you waking up to that and really having the courage to move in that direction, because it's beautiful energy right now. Because when you start to wake up towards God, you start to see your life start to change and start to shift. You start doing things different. You start to hang with different people. You start to do all of these things, and you start to see your physical body, your physical spirit, and your physical mind start to change, right? This is that type of energy where you decide to be like, hey, God, I'm surrendering. This is the perfect time right now to surrender. Remember I talked about a way back about that God box. What are you filtering in to the God box, right? So that's what connects with this type of reading as well, is what are you feeding yourself, right? Because I also feel an energy here where it's like, how do I get to know God? How do I get to know God, right? It's that type of energy, right? Stop looking for God in big places. You're going to keep missing him, missing her, right? Mother God, Father God. It's about you paying attention to the little detail. God is in front of you. And it's funny how, and it's how we're grown up and how the society and this matrix built us, right? We can't even appreciate God the way that we generally appreciate God. We got to think God got to do some grand thing in your life so you can fucking physically see a change, right? This is that type of energy. A lot of us, including myself, God is standing right in front of you, waiting for you to be like, I surrender. I'm ready to get to know you. I'm ready to do all of these things, right? Where as a collective, we're in this energy that is, we're making this situation harder than what it actually is, right? And it comes from that space of the lack of trust within oneself and what is being told to you. Like I always tell y'all, God comes in the form of yourself. When you hear God, you hear yourself. Why don't you think God can change forms, shape in different forms? Why the fuck do you not think God would use you? Right? This is that type of energy. You can see God in a movie. You can see God in nature. You can see God in a totally fucked up situation. You can see God anywhere. Why in the fuck will God not be able to use you? Why would God not use you in the form of you? What's the best way to get a hold of you? By connecting with you, right? This is that type of energy. That's the best way to really get an understanding of, to get to you, is to come in the form of you. Perfect. Thank you, God. You ain't gonna, through time, right? The best way to get connection to you, or God to get to you, is through the form of you, right? Because you comprehend and understand you. So that being said, God's going to speak through you, right? Verse using this man over here, this woman over here, this podcast, all this extra shit, right? Which that's what God utilizes. God utilizes all of that. But to get you to understand and comprehend is through you. And you understand yourself better than anyone on this planet. Nobody knows you better than yourself, but God, right? God knows that. So God's going to use that to get to you, right? To get to you. So it's about you stopping and looking within yourself. So that being said, something going against something that's better in your life is not a God, right? I think the problem here for us as a collective is being able to decipher the difference between flesh and the difference between if you really hear in spirit or not, right? The best way, the best advice I can really give you is, would your best self sabotage your life, or the best self sabotage your situation? No. So that being said, anything that is sabotaging what you are doing, anything that is sabotaging your way of walk, sabotaging your spirit, any way, shape, or form, that ain't of God. That ain't of God, right? So it's about us really, like I said, this is a beautiful time to go on and get to know God. God's amped up right now. And this is that type of energy. There's some amazing shit after you wake up to who you are and who God is, and when you build that relationship with God, right? Because you got to understand, man, like it's like right now, not to you just using me as an example, I'm damn near on a spiritual high, connecting with God, still working, still going through my shit, still humble enough to humble myself in the presence of God, right? But God has really been showing itself to me. Because, why? I set that intent. I asked for it. I searched. I was looking for high and low, right? You looking for God. God going to appear. And it's something you may like, you may not like, and it may be ugly, right? But regardless, God will show up to you, right? This is that type of energy here. It's just about you being the initiator to be like, hey, I'm trying to fuck with you. What you trying to get into, right? This is that type of energy in these moments in time. Closing this message out before we go. This is a beautiful time. What a time to be alive, right? Beautiful time to get connected with God. There's so much fucking mayhem out here where it's pulling you away from oneself. This is the best time to go within and sit with yourself. And remember God. The best way God can get a hold of you, that you in a way where you will understand it, is through yourself. So when God appears through you, remember that's God trying to get a hold of you. That's God trying to get an understanding. Or trying to get you an understanding, right? So instead of looking at that as, oh, that is not me. Or no, oh, that ain't God, that's me. That's all me. That's coming from me. It's like, no, you missing the mark. You're missing the mark. The best way to get a hold of you in a way that you will comprehend and understand is through yourself. So God's going to speak through you. You are going to hear you because you understand you, right? Versus God using some outside man or woman or animal or whatever to get a hold of you. You got to understand, man, in nursing, when we talk about like pain and things of that nature, the best indicator of like pain, like accurate pain, is to get that pain level or that pain tolerance directly from the client, right? Not from external sources. We call that more of a objective versus subjective. Subjective is getting that from other sources, like, I don't know, looking at your blood pressure, things of that nature. Your vital signs will show when you're in pain, but that's a secondary thing. That's a secondary trait versus going directly to that client and asking you, are you in pain? Yes. right? This is that type of energy when it comes to you. The same way God communicates with you. It's different. Yes, it's secondary to use all these different type of tools and things of that nature, right? These different type of tools to get a hold of you. Those are all secondary tools to get a hold of you. But that objective, right? That which is not, okay, I said secondary, subjective, right? Subjective. Is it subjective or secondary? One of the two. I think it's subjective. Is when using outside of yourself, right? Which that's pretty accurate, you know. But what's beyond all that shit is objective data coming straight from you. So God is going to use objective data to get straight to you, to get an understanding. Instead of using these other things, because these other things are last resorts, God is going to come to you first. So that being said, in these moments in time in your life, stop overthinking that God, that's making you, putting you in an energy that you think that you're not connecting with God when you are connecting with God. Okay, this is that type of energy in these moments in time. You understand yourself. So the moment that you really open your mind up to releasing that you, right, as this human having a spiritual experience, right, once you let go of you thinking that you're separate from your creator, that's when shit's going to unlock for you. The problem here is that as humans, we tend to think that we're separate. We're something different. We're not connected with God, right? We're something separate. We have to go outside of oneself to get to God because we're what? Separate. Right? That's what we tend to think. And it's like, no, we're one unit. We're in union, in unity. You and God is one spirit, one soul, one body, right? This is that time in energy, type of energy where once you start to understand that, you'll start to understand that God knows that you'll get more of a better understanding if I speak physically through you. You might hear your thoughts that come in the form of yourself and think that's just me thinking that. No. Remember, God understands that you understand and comprehend yourself enough to use you through you. Right? So that being said, God's going to go to that objective data first before God goes to that subjective data. Subjective data is getting that message from the preacher. That sub data would be even getting this message from this word. That sub-objective data would be like, I don't know, seeing nature, getting it from nature, or that's kind of a little primary, but nature and all these from a person and things of that nature. All of these different sources are all secondary data, but that primary data, that objective data, God's going to use first and most, right? First and most, right, is coming through the form of you. So to wrap this reading up, hopefully it gives you more of a grasp of how to get that connection with God and really know that you're hearing God or experiencing God and know that God's leading your life, right, is to, right, tap into yourself, because God is going to go there first before God goes anywhere else. So that being said, anything of God is going to be bettering your life, right? So to know that right now, anything that is of God is going to better your life, despite what it looks like, despite if you're in hard times, despite if you're experiencing some things, despite if God tells you to do some absurd shit that may not make sense to you. And everything that God tells you will always impact your life for the better, not for the worse. Anything that is going to sabotage your greatness isn't from God. Okay? All right. So wrapping this up now, last thoughts is stay focused on God. And the way you do that is stay focused on yourself. When you stay focused on yourself, that's when things will unlock for you. All right? All right. All right, I want you guys to have a good night. Remember, all readings are not for all, they're for some. Take what you need and leave the rest. As well as we got that slot open for personal readings. If you feel guided or interested in purchasing one of those, you know what to do. DM me, we can get you set up. Come fuck with your girl, okay? As well as drop a comment down below. Love to hear from you guys. It's going to start the discussion. As well as it's going to share these vids, man. Let's get this divine knowledge out here for the collective so we all can get on one accord, okay? Anything else? I want y'all to stay up. Remember, connect to God through you, okay? Have a good night and bye-bye.